Want massive inner thighs? Let me show you how to get them. All right, guys and girls, with the wellness division, with bodybuilding, even with men's physique and men's classic physique, increasing the width of our legs is huge. So many people think width, they think quad sweep, the outer portion of the quad. And to me, that is half of the equation. The other half is the inner thigh or the adductor, right? So all that muscle is on the inside of our legs. Now, most people will get this naturally from squatting, honestly. That's when I used to do lots of squats, I never even remotely thought about inner thighs, so I didn't need it because all the squatting that I did was about hip width. I got good depth and good range of motion. My adductors got crushed and blew up and honestly always was pumped just as much as my quads. So I never really put a lot of emphasis on adductors until back squats were taken out of my program and I did primarily leg press and hack squat as my pressing movements for quads. So what I want to spend today's video doing is talking about ways to target it, what to specifically focus on, and then the first thing we're going to get into here is your stance and stance width. So if I'm on a leg press, I'm on a hack squat, if I want power, this is roughly where my feet are going to be, right? So that's 11 and 1 if you look at my toes, and hip width. So if you look, that's my hip pointers straight down where my ankles fall. So this is the stance I like. If John ever said to me, Chris, like, I need you to move as much weight as you can with your strongest stance on a leg press or hack squat, this is what I chose. This is where I felt good. This is where I squatted. So this is kind of an all-around leg builder. Now, the common knowledge is, oh, I want to work adductor. That means my feet have to get wide, right? So people instinctually think, okay, I got to get to here. And then I really got to turn my toes out to, that's probably 10 and 2, right? Well, this is great if you have good hip mobility. I do not. So if you look, I'm just going to show you. If I was to try to squat, right there feels about end range on body weight. Like that's miserable on my hip. Well, is that gonna develop that adductor? That range of motion is like here, terrible. I'd have to have a ton of weight on my back to push my ass down in the hole. Then what's gonna happen? Wear and tear on the hip, and the next thing you know, I'm having to get a hip replacement. So to me, this just logically never made sense for my setup and structure. It feels terrible, and all I feel is pain here in the hip joint. So let's be logical about this. If I wanna target my adductors on, say, a leg press, a belt squat, what stance and width and spacing should my feet be, as well as where should my toes point? So for me, all day long, I'm gonna be right here. So that's roughly still about 11 and 1. But then if you look, I'm a couple inches outside of where I naturally would be for strength. Now, watch this. Now I can get down and sink in that hole. Extra range of motion. I can sit here and talk to you. That feels great. I feel strong, I feel powerful. But at the bottom, my adductors feel trashed. So for me, look at that stance. This is what feels good. You'll have to play around for you, what you need to do. If you have hip mobility out here, by all means, attack it. I've seen some girls on the internet, dear God, they can go like hamstrings to calves from this. And listen, more power to you. That just isn't me, and I've had to bet not most of you. So let's start with the top 2 exercises outside of the adductor machine, because that's kind of obvious, that I would do to really target my adductors and how I would use that. So we're gonna start with the leg press. If I'm gonna hit my adductors here, guys, again, another common thing is most people say, oh, I'm gonna get up here. To me, that's doing the exact same thing that the really wide stance, so me standing on the deadlift platform did. For me, I like to slide down. I feel really comfortable towards the bottom of this platform, but if you notice my feet are all the way to the outside of this platform, and my toes are still in that like 11 and 1 spot. Now, from here, when I'm gonna go after adductors, I have to think about range of motion, because the deeper I get, the more adductor I feel. So as I come down, this is where most people are gonna leg press, right? That's still all on quad, even though my feet are wider than I probably would like for a quad focused leg press. When I get down to here, now I'm starting to feel adductor, 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 adductor. Oh my word, that's trashing them. Press up, drive through that heel. Look how deep that range of motion is. See how my lower back is still on the pad and my feet are flat on the platform. Get these things deep, deep, sink them in there. I'm purposely slowing down so you can see those extra inches of range of motion. That right there is where I want for adductor. So the takeaway there, feet low on the platform, feet to the outside of this platform. Now, if I was on one of those big, like say Nebula leg press that have the platforms that are huge, right? I wouldn't go all the way to the outside. I would still be right at that like hip width, and my toes slightly out. For me, this is all about sinking depth and feeling the adductor lengthen and stretch, and then driving through it through my heels. So with a leg press, that's the stance I would take. Now, let's go over the belt squat and I'll show you that. All right, so belt squat. I want to take the exact same stance that I just had on that leg press. Still toes are out, but with these, I want to make sure I sit back, as opposed to I want to think about with quads, I'm thinking about driving my knees over my toes. With this, I want to think about sitting back into a chair, so it's a little bit more adductor, glute, and then hamstring focused. So let me show you what those look like. What I want to think about here, chest tall, but then I'm sitting back, 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 deep. Oh, that's all adductor right there. then press up to 3/4 lockout right here. Not pulling with the arms, sink those deep. Oh, that's burning those adductors. I hadn't even trained them. Here, here. Oh, adductors straight up. I'll get him to swing to the side, and I'll show you how this is gonna differ from a quad-focused belt squat. So I wanna break at the hip to go back. If I was gonna do this for quad, I'd have to go this way. If I'm for adductor, glutes, and hamstrings, I wanna push these back, sit into that chair, as opposed to, if I'm thinking quad, I'm here all day long. You see the difference there? I'm still taking the same stance, but that's drastically different than this. That difference of where you take your hips and where you take your knees is gonna make or break this, whether it's all quad or majority or adductor, as well as glutes and hamstrings. So when you're doing this belt squat, guys, the difference from the leg press where you'll get adductor or quad, here I wanna get adductor, glutes, hamstrings. So if I hit these back to back, this is a great 1-2 combo all around for your entirety of your lower body. Now, let's get up and I'll show you the GOAT of adductor exercises, AKA politically incorrect good girl machine. So with this, guys, every gym's gonna have one of these. Well, at least if you go to a commercial gym, everyone's gonna have these. This is essential if you aren't seeing adductor progress. I wanted you to get on here and I want you to see, I know my range of motion through my hips isn't great, but if you look at that, that's about the end range for me. And then contraction is all the way to where those pegs bang together. So I have this set to where the weights stop. That for me is a good stretch. Any more than this, and it feels like my adductor's gonna rip off. So don't overstretch this and tear your adductor because that's a slow, long recovery. But what I want you to think about here, guys, is control the negative, come in and get a hard contraction, and then work your way down the stack. If you've seen me in these videos, I've done as much as 170 for 20 reps, and then I've had 3/4 pinned onto this machine and done it for 8 to 12. So with this, it's about weight. Don't be scared to get on here, wear it out, move down the stack, add a gym pin and get stronger. This right here, in combination with the 2 exercises I just showed you in the back room, you wanna improve your adductors and bring them up drastically in a year. Do all 3 of these every leg day, and I promise you will have so much meat in your inner thighs, you'll start ripping through your jeans and pants and shorts on a regular basis. So that is a side effect, I guess, is increased clothes costs because all of your shorts will be chafed as well as your pants. So, or invest in some, I guess some baby powder would be a good idea, or Vaseline. So there's the advice. Chris with thick adductors, no thigh gap. So until next time, like, share, subscribe. Chris Evans TV.